Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The topic that I'm going to touch on today is in relation to metacognition in the educational psychology subject. And I've taken this video in my study room, and I hope it's all right with the lecturer concerned. And right, okay. Before we go any further, you might be wondering what is metacognition all about. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, metacognition is very simple here. It's in relation to one's cognitive level. Okay, what is cognitive? Cognitive is different in everyone. Everyone has got a different way of thinking. You cannot be judgmental that this person is super clever or this person is not clever, you know. So everybody has got a different way of thinking. It can be a child, it can be adult, or an old person. So everybody's cognitive level is different. And ladies and gentlemen, I've come up with this slide. The first slide of metacognition is the introduction slide. What is metacognition all about? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can you see this? Metacognition is cognition about cognition, okay? And it's thinking about thinking, knowing about knowing. So it's still in relation to somebody's thinking, somebody's knowing capacity in order to come up with a solution and in order to think, okay? And it's one of the higher order thinking skills. So as I said, everyone is different. And the origin of the word metacognition is meta, right? What is meta? And meta is something beyond or on top of. So when we see beyond or on top of, it comes to a very high degree of thinking skills. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, metacognition has got several stages, and the stages is in relation to the planning and development, the carrying out of plan. Okay, everyone has got a plan before you execute something. So you plan, you develop that, and you go on with the plan, right? So as I said, it's a very high degree of capacity of thinking capacity, or the awareness. So we are going to go in depth on how are we going to put this in force. Ladies and gentlemen, teachers play a very important role here. It's not just the teachers, it's the parents as well. So parents, teachers play a very important role in developing this metacognition among students, in them. Okay, we've got to develop this in them. So what are we supposed to do? Okay, I've come up with 4 important, just a minute. Okay, I don't want to be too rigid. Okay, I'm going to be very flexible and very simple about it. Because when you're too rigid, you're going to be so worried about how the recording is going to be. If anything goes wrong, it's going to spoil the whole thing. So I'm going to be very rigid about it. Okay, I'm not going to be very rigid about it. I'm just going to be as it goes. I'm just going to follow the flow, right? Okay, and the first slide is in relation to by way of storytelling. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you might be wondering why by way of storytelling. Okay, storytelling here, it's very important in absorbing it, or it's very important in teachers to make sure that when you teach or when you tell something, you don't do it in a very scientific way where it's difficult sometimes for students to understand. So what we do is you tell a story. If you're going to come up with a topic, or if you're going to come up with something in relation to metacognition or anything like that, or any topic, okay, you tell it in a very storytelling manner, and this will trigger, or it will help the students to think. You see, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to kindergarten children, okay, you don't go and tell them things where, you know, it's difficult for them to grab it. You tell them in a way they understand. You put it in a storytelling way. It's psychology, yeah. So when you do that, people will get, or students will get interested, and you know, it's more what you call fun. Students will be very excited, or they will understand, they will try to make it a point to understand what the teacher is trying to say, because it's like you are trying to divert their attention. That means when you tell a story, people will listen. Even you and me, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to tell me a story, I'm going to listen to it. Okay, that's one of it. And the second slide is relation to journals. Okay, journals, it can be anything. It can be fake journals, like what we're doing in university now. It can be journals where you write, okay? You write about what you're doing, your daily routine and things like that. So we've got to put this in the students nowadays, teachers and parents, okay? We've got to make sure that they have that interest in writing, in reading journals, in writing. You write and you read what you have written, okay? And it's the results, based on the results, yeah, it indicates that there was a significant difference between learning by using learning journals and without using journals, okay? Statistics and research has proven that by writing, or by writing journals, or when you read journals, it has proven a very high level of awareness, okay? Example, you plan a lesson, okay? So when you plan a lesson, I'm very sure when you plan something, you will monitor that. Okay, so when you write a diary or when you read something, you will eventually start monitoring what you have written and what you understood. Okay, and that's one of the very important core where all teachers and parents has got to take it into account. And the next slide is in relation to mindfulness. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, you've got to remember every human being has got stress. There's no human being without stress. Looking at the current situation now, you know, you and me, we have got stress as well. What about students? They've got to undergo exams, they've got to undergo this and that, okay? So what we're going to do is, it's very good from young, we make sure, especially parents and teachers, we make sure that we adapt this mindfulness activity in them. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is where it's more of you relax yourself, okay? It's like a yoga kind of thing, where it maintains your stress level, it maintains your ability to think, it gives you the opportunity to sit and think and analyze before you become too hyper. Okay, this is because nowadays children, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, they're very hyper. So what we're going to do is an education level is very difficult. So students might, you know, they tend to lose interest in studying. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this in them. We're going to practice mindfulness, where it's got to be every 5 minutes, you know, in every subject. Whenever the teacher come in, you practice 5 minutes of mindfulness. You get the students to relax, you know, take a deep breath, you know, think and, you know, relax yourself. Then start asking questions and start going up to the lessons. And this is, for example, as what I said, it reduces stress. You are able to evaluate things, ladies and gentlemen. Because if you want to evaluate, if you want to think, your capacity of thinking skill has got to be strong. So how do you do that? How does your thinking capacity, how are you going to make it strong? Okay, so you've got to relax yourself first, calm down, take a deep breath, practice mindfulness. So I think, in my opinion, mindfulness plays an important role in every student. And the next slide is in relation to the making decision. So how do you make decision, ladies and gentlemen? We are talking about students here. It can be anybody. It can be a year 4 student, or a university going student, or a college going student, okay? So even teachers, it's very important to have this in them. Okay, menerap semua ni, alright? So that's what it's in the Bahasa Malaysia, where you have to make sure that students have all this. And ladies and gentlemen, this is by way of decision. So I've come up with this, the taxonomy theory. The taxonomy theory plays an important role here, ladies and gentlemen. You've got the creativity, okay, the knowledge, the comprehension, the application, the analysis, synthetic evaluation bloom, okay, and you've got the creativity. So when you want to come up with, when you want to think, okay, how are you going to think and come up with a decision? How are you going to do that? Okay, in order to think and come up with a decision, you've got to have this kind of theories. You can practice theories. Teachers, parents can practice. Not parents, probably they do. They are not educated in psychology. Teachers, okay, you've got to practice theories. When you practice theories, you can see a difference in students. It really helps. Okay, so in order to come up with decision and to speak out, you've got to be brave. Okay, you've got to be confident. You've got to be confident in class to ask a question or come up with decision making and things like that. So in order to do that, teachers has got to make sure that the students have all this, the thinking capacity of taxonomy bloom. Okay, this is a very important theory where it plays an important role, and where teachers can practice that in school. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So I think that for perspective plays an important role, and I've written what I could, the examples and what you call real life experiences of certain countries and all that in my assignment, and I hope it's okay. And in conclusion, I feel that these 4 elements play an important role, and everybody has got to make sure, everybody plays an important role in making sure that students have got, or as eventually as they grow, they practice high level of metacognition, practice. And in order to do that, you need help, okay, or you need things like this to make sure that it helps the students in practicing or preparing them to have a good metacognition level. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that the video helps, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.